everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. Here it is Tuesday night and I am with you with a sketch challenge again. Every Tuesday night at 6:30 I jump on and do a sketch challenge. And the sketch actually will be posted on social media if you miss any of the instructions at about 7 o'clock Pacific. So in about half an hour. If you miss anything, you'll be able to get the image of with all the measurements on it. Now, I'm pre-recording this because at this very time, I'm actually at a meeting, so I couldn't join you live tonight. But I wanted to make sure that I did my sketch. I have such fun with these sketches. So I wanted to make sure I actually posted the sketch. So I will go back in and check out the any comments or questions you might have after it goes. But this will just look as if I'm live. It's just I'm not responding to anybody who is commenting. So make sure you comment, tell me where you're from, even though I can't actually answer you or acknowledge you right now. But I will make sure I go back in and check out who's watching and who's commenting. All right, so tonight's sketch, I actually did a little while ago, and then I went to figure out what I was going to do. Somebody asked me whether it's the sketch comes first or the card idea comes first. In this case, it was the sketch. Most of the time, it's the sketch. And then I go looking to see what I can actually use for it. So I decided I'm going to use On the Ocean again. I played with this on Saturday, made such a cute little card that I'm going to play with this again and do a little bit more stamping this time than last time I did the die cutting. So let me switch over and we will get started with the sketch, and then I'll show you the On the Ocean. So this is the sketch. So your card base is either 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11. And then this blue strip is 2 inches by 5.25. Now I'm going to have to grab, I was going to do some embossing on this and I forgot an embossing folder. So I'm going to quickly grab that. Now this strip is 1/2 inch by 5.25. I had an idea as I was coming up with this, pulling what I was going to use, that I wanted to do some embossing or die cutting down here and make kind of an embossed or a cut out edge on this. If you want to do that, and I realize that I've set 1/2 inch by 5.25. If you want to make a border of this strip, you probably will need to have this bigger than 1/2 inch. So I'm going to actually just use a strip of the distressed gold. But if you want to, do something a little fancier and use like the elegant border dies, or even in this On the Ocean, there are the waves. I think 1/2 inch is too narrow, so make it a little bit wider. Then you need 2 circles that are, I've said 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch, and then 2.25 by 2.25. I've used the largest and second largest of the Stylish Shapes circles. So whatever you've got that works. Then a shape of some sort or shapes. I've got a star on my sketch. So about 2.5 inches, but you could use more than one. And then a sentiment strip that's about 3/4 inch by 2 inches. Whatever shape you want. It could be rectangular. You could die cut it. You could punch it out. If your sentiment is narrower or wider, just adjust that measurement to fit your sentiment. Okay, let me quickly grab the embossing folder that I want to use, and I will be right back. Let's put that there. All right, I'm going to use the splatter. I think that's what it's called, splatter. Embossing folder. It comes in there's 2 of them. There's the splatter and then there's the stripes, but I thought this one would go. Okay, so what am I going to use? I've got a piece of crumb cake that is 4.25 by 11, and I'm going to score it at 5.5. My favorite size for a card base is this 4.25 by 11. I'm not sure why. I do use both, but I seem to always kind of gravitate to this one. But so 4.25 by 11 scored at 5.5. And as always, when I score, I fold into the mountain or the raised line. Just makes a better fold. Okay, so then I've got a piece of early espresso that is 2 inches by 5.25. And this is where I've got that piece of distressed gold. Now there is, let me bring in this. I didn't show you this. This is what I'm using. If you didn't see my live on Saturday where I used the On the Ocean bundle, it's just so cute. I just recently brought it into my collection. I'm going to use this stamped image. On Saturday, I used the die cuts to create a really fun ship with some waves, but today I'm going to do some stamping. So there are the images that you can stamp, some great sentiments, and then of course you can cut out the ship using the die. You can cut out the wheel. You can cut out a skull and crossbone, some waves, even some clouds, this cloud. So that's what we're going to use today for it. At least that's what I'm going to use today. All right. So this is where I said, if you want to create a border or a detail down there with some dies, you're probably going to, see, this is too wide or too narrow. My strip's too narrow, the die is too wide. So if you want to create something fun, you will probably, I could probably just do it. You probably should cut yours maybe an inch wide, and then you'll have room to cut it down and you could trim it. I could actually probably, let's try that. Okay, we might try that. It may go terribly wrong, but let's see. All right, let's bring in, I can use my mini stump and cut and emboss machine today because the embossing folder is narrow. So we're going to put our piece of cardstock into our embossing folder. Let's get the right platforms. I think it's this platform, number 4. So this is a 3D emboss, or not a, 3D embossing folder. So it needs to be just the 2 plates for this one. And it creates this great kind of splatter effect. That's kind of hard to see. There we go. All right, let's take a chance and see if we can actually make this little strip work for this kind of wave edge. I think I can do it, and I'm just going to put it on and just kind of hold it in place with a piece of Post-it note tape. Like I said, you probably want to cut yours a little wider so you're not playing around with just a little bit of an edge. Oh, that didn't work at all. Ha! All right, I'll show you why it didn't work. Because it cuts the border out like this, and I don't want it to go. I wanted the bumps to go. I was thinking it would work. So let me just grab a piece of paper. All right, so we'll recut this. And while I have it, since I can, I'm going to cut it to be I'm actually going to cut it to be 1 inch wide. So this is what you should do. Cut it to be 1 inch wide if you want it to, there's 1 inch wide by 5 1/4. If you want to do a border like I'm going to try and do. So now I can actually get my waves. And again, I'm just going to put some Post-it note tape on there. I love my little machine. I've grown to love it so much since, for many of you, you know that I broke my wrist in December. It's so much better. I can pretty much, it's not quite back to normal, but it's pretty much back to normal. But if you've got any issues with your hands and you have a hard time with the big machine, that mini machine is just so amazing and is lightweight. There's what I want. So there's some waves. We're going to have waves going. Finally, again, just make your strip bigger than 1/2 inch. Okay, so I've got that. I've got the waves. I'm going to just tuck those underneath. Right, now where's the rest of my pieces here? Okay, so I've got my circles. There we go. And I've got a piece of Very Vanilla. I thought Very Vanilla was better with this one. With this, the colors I've got with the brown and gold. So we're going to stamp the ship. I haven't used this yet. So there's one of the dies. That's one of the waves dies that you can get. I cut that out the other day and didn't use it. So when I cut an extra piece out that I don't use, I always just kind of stick it into my stamp case, and then it's there. But one of these days I will make a card that uses it. All right, so there's the ship, and we need a sentiment. What shall we use for a sentiment? I'd be lost without you. How's that one? Now this is going to be not as big as what you probably need, but you can always cut your piece. So there we go. All right, I'm going to stamp my ship. Let's see. I think I'm going to stamp my ship in early espresso. Let's see what it looks like. This is kind of a very cool, very pirate ship. If you've got somebody who's into pirates, isn't that cool? All right, and we might as well stamp our sentiment. Now I went ahead and cut this piece. This is one of the dies from the Stylish Shapes. So I went ahead and cut it out. So I'm just going to take and hopefully, let's just see. Yeah, it's pretty straight. Hopefully. Going to do it down one end, and then I'm going to trim it off because I don't need this full piece. So let's take our die, and we can cut this out. So yeah, if you've got somebody who's into pirates, this is perfect for them. This piece of Post-it note tape, you can use washi tape, you can use a Post-it note, whatever works. Now I'm going to trim this off like that, and then I can use my little machine again. So that can go on there, and there's the plate. And then we got our ship cut out. Oh, I didn't do a very good job. Gosh, even with the Post-it note, I didn't do a very good job. Let's stamp that again. That's why I use a Post-it note, and sometimes even the tape, and even sometimes the Post-it note tape slips. So it just makes it easier to try and hold it in place. But some days go better than others with that. So let's try this again. Now, there are 3 little dots and then the 1 little dot at the top of the mast. Use those to help you line up your stamped image, because if you can see the dark stamped image underneath those little dots, then you're lined up. So let's try this again and see if we can cut it out without it having it kind of slip and slide around. There we go. I think that's better. So like I said, Post-it note tape, washi tape, something to help so that your image doesn't slip and slide like it did here. You can see I got quite a lot of the very vanilla showing, so we don't want to use that one. Okay, time to start putting our card together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere the embossed piece of early espresso. Now I always use liquid glue, mostly use liquid glue for everything, but definitely use it underneath an embossed image, just because it gets into the nooks and crannies. And I wanted to put that underneath it, so we'll just, the good thing about liquid glue is it gives you some wiggle room. So we're just going to try and slip, there we go, slip our gold piece that I die cut underneath, and I'm not even going to worry. It will be held on by my circles, so I didn't adhere that down. So we're going to put our circles on. I'm going to pop up this big circle, And then I'm going to adhere the early espresso circle to it with liquid glue. You could use embossing or dimensionals on both if you want. I just don't. I'm going to pop up my ship, so I don't want everything kind of popped up. There we go. Now let's put some dimensionals on our ship. And I probably, there we go. So our ship will go like that, right on there. That's fun. I just love this. I don't know why, you know, sometimes I see bundles and I think, no, I'm gonna wait. Okay, I'm gonna adhere this using dimensionals. And this is one I've kind of had my eye on, but I didn't buy it for a while, but decided it was about time. So I'm going to put this so that it's a little bit, I've got a little bit of room on this right hand side, and then I'm going to take and just trim off this excess like that. Okay, now I've got that. This is the gold 1/8 inch ribbon. It comes in gold and silver. It's one of the online exclusives. I should have put this on before okay, let's just tie a bow. Let's just tie a little bow. Like that. I've used, getting close to the end of the gold ribbon, and I haven't even touched the silver ribbon yet. Okay, we use a glue dot on that. I don't know, maybe bow not good for, it isn't good for this one because it's kind of more masculine, but I like the gold, so we'll put it on like that. And then I have some of the pastel adhesive backed sequins. They come in the blue, the pink, and the gold. And I love the gold, so we will add some gold sequins like that. And then the last thing we need to do is stamp something. So I've got a piece for the inside of our card. I've got a piece that is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. So there is this stamp that's really cool. Kind of looks like really old-fashioned waves that would be part of a storybook or a yeah, definitely a pirate adventure. So we're going to stamp that in early espresso along the bottom here. There we go. I love these waves. All right. So that can go on the inside. There we go. So where's my sketch? We'll bring that back in. So there's my sketch, and there's the card that I created. Pretty similar to it. So hopefully you will be able to create one as well. So don't forget that the image, the sketch will go live on social media if you've missed any of the measurements. If you have any questions, I'll go back and watch and answer any questions that you might have about the sketch. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I will be back live on Thursday night at 6:30 Pacific with a mystery challenge for you. So I hope you'll grab your supplies. I will be posting the clues earlier in the day, so hopefully you'll grab them and make a card along with me. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Happy stamping.